Howdy, folks.
Howdy, folks! We are here in Caron Beach. Hold on.
Well, how are ye?
Yeah, we don't know where. Oh, how we're doing great. Thank you so much. Look at that. We're gonna go to the beach to Caron. Ikaw, Caron? Caron. Yeah,
Caron.
yeah, Caron. I don't know where we're gonna go. I
Caron.
here. We're gonna go in here. That's over there. We have to go. We have to walk 15 minutes from here. Yeah, it says 15 minutes from here. So here we are right now at
Well,
Caron.
welcome everybody to Phuket.
I think that's the dyan. Hindi. Dalo-dalo. Opo. What,
I'm
Eric?
saying welcome because in my title, I said this was the birth where FSV became famous. I believe this is the this is the hotel where Fat Slob Vlogs, aka Ricky, came
Oh,
when he first came to
okay.
Phuket right after 2020 when he went into isolation, if you remember. I believe this is the hotel. They're renovating this side of it over here.
Oh,
Um, this is the hotel where he said, I just used up $33,000 of Warren each bucks on whiskey, booze, and women.
oh yeah.
That
That's
was one of my favorite Ricky moments back in 2020 when he first launched as FSV.
the Fats Love
That's
Vlog.
Law Blogs became Ricky Drama, became Big Shot Travel, became Sick Grandpa. So big shout out to Ricky Boy for his
And became the 2 to
6 or 7 years
kidnap.
of entertainment.
And as well as 2 to kidnap, right?
Maybe Sick Grandpa. Yeah. Oh yeah, too fat to kidnap. Yeah.
Yeah. 3 people in the house. Thank you so much. Look at that. They're doing. See? They're
Wouldn't you
taking.
like to fly in a
Oh my God.
beautiful
Oh, there's a
balloon?
monkey. Says nga, there's a monkey daw.
Is there a monkey up there?
No, it's a human. I think he's gonna stop by in here, my gulay. There. It's so windy. Like, look at that. It's crazy. It's amazing. There's a monkey daw. I know, it's on the
Welcome all 11 people to the community. Welcome
Yeah.
to the community.
That's so nice. Oh, look at that. Yes, that's
So where
fun.
are you at? You're on Corone Beach or Kata Beach?
Are in Caron Beach Resort. So much whippy. It's so nice, actually. Look, it's a different.
And you're with the hip hop honey killer, right?
Yes, look, hip hop, panico, and the little
Different vibe than Patong.
e. Welcome.
Different vibe than Patong.
Yeah, very different vibes. It's more calm, less people, and look at wave. The wave. The water is really what I have to call wavy and green, blue green. It's different color. I don't know. It it's really looks nice though. It's very clean. It's very clean. Sorry, someone's allergic to clean. Anyway,
Wow, awesome.
it's really good. The
So you're
the
gonna walk to Kata Beach and then you're gonna
yeah
go into the town over there.
yes
I'm here in Patong, which is just up the road, and reminiscing about Ricky Drama when he was Fat Slob Vlogs here back
yes
in 2020.
yeah. The
We
water is
missed the Ricky in the Fat Slob Vlog era.
yeah. In all fairness, Biggie, everyone, look at this. The water is really so clean, and then the sand is brown. Like it's not matte, it's brown. It's really it's a different one. That's why it's so clean. Very
Mocha.
very. Yeah.
Is it Mocha?
Huh?
Mocha Sands.
Yeah. Mocha. Yes, that's it. Mocha sand. So nice, actually. It's a different vibe. very calm. I mean, coach, it must be in the wind. It must be in the wind. Yeah, very windy here.
The
So
wind, yeah.
look at our
I don't
back
have any wind.
gone by the gone by the
There's no wind here that I can feel, but we're surrounded by buildings. So, but even if you look at the palm trees over there, you don't really see any wind here. Patong is only about what 10 minutes, 15 minutes away from
yeah.
where you're at, and
17? Yeah. Yeah, something like that, Biggie.
it's
So
kind of
we're
weird
getting
that it could
closer.
change that much.
Sorry. But God, look at our banks, it's gone.
Yeah, it looks windy there, but it doesn't. There's no wind here at all. It's completely still. Look at all
Look.
these leaves; they're not even moving.
Wow, 24 people in the house.
Weird that the
Hello.
wind can be that much different when we're so close.
Yeah. No, but anyway,
There's Honey oh,
yes, Haniko and the
and
banks.
Ethan. Oh,
Haniko and the banks.
the Bangs version.
The
Check out
banks
them
all
bangs, Kale
around.
Gervin.
The banks all around. So round and
Big shout
round.
out to Ernest Connell, who was just in. I think he was just in Phuket not too long ago.
Yes.
The great
I
Ernest
understand
Connell.
why. Yeah, I understand why they are here because it's really nice. It's actually a paradise also, I would say. Phuket is really, especially like, maybe as long as it's not raining, rainy season, maybe. But it is really good. It's so nice. The water is nice. Reminds me of, even like, just like in Penang. Look at that, oh. See? Much more, safe. Yeah,
Hmm.
wavy.
Yeah,
Because oh, there.
and we've
Oh,
only got a 3 hour drive or ferry ride over to Krabi from
oh,
Phuket. If you ever
yeah.
wanted to hit both, I mean, Krabi's not that far.
That must be ano early. Very nice. So you said the Krabi is nice. Look at that.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for coming to our. Thank you for coming to our live.
Look at that. It is really pretty here. Pretty.
I've been doing my series on expat lives, but I didn't think of a new one today, so we thought we would just do a different type of video.
Yeah.
Wow, I do feel the rain starting to come down. Is it raining where you're at?
Yeah. A little bit. Not big one. They just rain. We have this ano Eric. How we call it? Anong tawag nun? Rain and sun. The heaven is having fun. Rain and shine. The heaven got
Honeyco Honeyco said this water that I'm in is a lot colder than yesterday, but it's not. It's warmer.
it's
A
warmer this
lot
morning.
warmer.
It's warmer though
It's
today.
almost like bathtub warm.
But, yeah, ngayon daw, bat daw doon. Ngayon ba? Sa double tree
Well,
ngayon
how's
ba?
it going out there in the community? Say hi to us, community. I'm starting to feel lonesome. I'm so lonesome I could cry.
Tayo, bakata tayo
Big
doon.
Kevin had another big show yesterday. That's one thing that happened.
Kasi 11, 15 minutes walk. 15 minutes walk going to Kata Beach.
Well, you better
Very
get
good.
on your better get moving because it
Yes.
started sprinkling here. I guess I could go in there.
Yes.
See the bar
Yes.
right there with that guy. Uh, that part's covered.
Yeah, you do.
Well, everybody, we're going to be in Phuket for maybe a month. We might split some of that time, go to Krabi. Now, this is the low season, so the occupancy is a little bit lower. It means the rates are a little bit better. you do get a rain every day for maybe you know 20 minutes or an hour.
Yes.
The heavy raining season is more like I think in September and October, and that's definitely something to avoid. But just like in Bangkok, we only got rain maybe an hour and a half out of a whole week. Uh, it's actually kind of nice. It cleans up the pollution and drops the temperature a bit. So it's tough.
I think
So
my
yeah,
signal is really. Is it? Huh?
come to Phuket.
Oh, okay.
Phuket, the place that put Thailand on the map about
Yeah,
25
I
or
would
30 years
say
ago.
really. So far, but so far really, it is really good in here. I would say. But they have this. If you're gonna go across, according to the driver, like if you're gonna go across the street, that's what they call the city life, the city thing. So we might actually go check it out also the city thing. They have a lot. Oh, they have walking. So they have their own charm. I would say.
Check
Yeah,
it out. I think it's, I think Coron and Kata are better beaches, probably better beaches, but less nightlife and less of the action. So it's kind of a what do you
trade
prefer?
off.
Be right in the thick of it or be in the better beach area?
Yeah. Yeah. Some to clean for me. Some to clean, but Patong is
cleaner
more
is
cleaner. Actually, when it comes to the beach clean, if you just have to look in this side, you see it's way more cleaner. But if you're gonna see on this side, you don't wanna see. It's like there's two places in
It's
one
like,
setting. Yeah, you see the side where seems like people forget to clean inside. You can see some. And then on this side, the beach itself is really clean.
well, it's
So
like the
so
old
far between
saying
Caron,
in the Philippines, the old saying, whatever you do, don't look down. Don't look
look
down.
straight.
Look straight ahead.
Yeah, straight ahead. Yeah, exactly. It actually applies that in here. But as you go, I think it's not down. It's more on don't look on the other side. Just look on the beach side. So the beach is really pretty.
Words of wisdom from the great
The
Arcelius
beach is
Corner.
clean. Oh yeah. Sometimes
Eyes straight, don't look down.
don't look down. That's great. Yeah, it's really
I
amazing.
compare the Danang one. It's like the more maintained, the cleaning
Yeah.
here is like
Caron
What'd you
versus
say?
Danang. Caron versus Danang. Caron versus Danang, Eric. She preferred Danang when it comes to cleanliness
cleanliness and the beach.
and the beach.
Well, Danang's going to be impossible to beat because it's like perfectly clean, but it's trade offs, right? Because
Oh,
there's a lot
yeah.
more nightlife in Patong. There's a lot more malls. The beaches aren't quite as
Yeah.
good, but they also have sunset on this beach. The other one has sunrise. A lot of it depends on your preference.
Yeah.
If you're an early morning person or an afternoon, evening person versus, also a nighttime person. It's tough to say. But Danang's going to be tough to beat on the beach side of it. We just mentioned you. I just said shout out to Ernest about 10 minutes ago. because I think you were just in Phuket.
Yeah.
Shout out to the legendary Ernest Connell, and here they are. Dun 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 bum 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 dun dun dun. Dun.
Red
I
Phuket.
I can't
Welcome to
remember, Ernest. You were in
Phuket.
Pattaya or Phuket? I thought you had said you were in Phuket when you for 5 weeks, but maybe it was Pattaya. Because I we've been to Pattaya so many times, we sort of got Pattaya'd out. Pattaya and
Tired out.
Phuket are so both have similar options. It's just Phuket has better water for swimming, I guess, for water sports. But other than that, it's pretty much the same. Oh, Pattaya, yeah. But you've been here before, right? To Phuket, I think. I'm sure you have. You're a Thailand legend. I don't know if you remember this, Ernest, but the title of my stream is "This is
Wala.
a game Ricky Drama and Big Shot Travels and Sick Grandpa and Too Fat to Kidnap." This is where he came when he got through his quarantine. I believe this is where he was when he took YouTube by storm back in 2020, right before 2021. Never made it. Wow, that's surprising. I mean, you've been everywhere. You can say you've been to Auckland, New Zealand, Wellington, Reykjavik, the North Slope of Alaska, Siberia, but you've never been to Phuket? What? I think you'd like it here, though. It's got a massive nightlife area there on
Done
Bangalore
here.
Road, and just right behind here, right behind this hotel, they have a Hooters here as well. They have big walking street thing, tons of nightlife, tons of hookers and bar girls, and the whole bit. Plus, it's right on the water. But I think the benefit here is you can actually go in the water, but
Yeah.
still not as clean as Da Nang. I'd say the Da Nang is edging that out slightly.
Very
But see, I don't wait. I'm not an early morning person. I love sunsets, and I think everybody loves sunsets if you get up super early. But I hit a few awesome sunsets. One in Boracay a couple times, and then Kota Kinabalu, and a few here and there. And I went to Haleakala Crater in Maui, famous for its sunsets. But I'm more of a sunrise. Sorry, I'm more of a sunset person because I'm never up that early. And if you can look at my shorts from yesterday, that came from April. She filmed that beautiful sunsets here, right here in Patong.
Yeah, I agree. Beautiful sunset in there. So they are having, earners
Yeah,
starting
next
Dark
time.
Horse. Hello, Dark Horse.
Ernest,
Oh, so
yes, Dark
hi.
Horse.
Yeah, Dark Horse.
This person a couple weeks ago in Da Nang, Vietnam, and he was a fascinating guy, very smart guy, very capable of talking and listening, and I liked Ernest a lot. I hope we meet him again. Ernest is not your
Dark
typical
Horse.
BAL podcast loser. He's a very capable guy. Ernest is a big supporter of Ben. Oh, that's good. Well, I met Ben a few times. He's a very nice guy, very humble guy. When I met Ben the first time, he had no money at all, and I bought him dinner because I felt bad. He just he was totally busted, but he was very soft spoken, very He sounded almost like he was from a well-to-do family, very well-spoken and very, but a humble guy. He was a nice kid.
Ah, nasa na tayo? Sige, mag-ano?
Well, when you get back to any one of these
I think
places, hopefully our paths will collide once again. I think we caught you at the end of your whirlwind
sige.
tour. Artist hit about 22 countries, 2 cruises. I don't know how you were still standing by the end of all that. You were definitely killing it. But yeah, we met Ben a few times. Nice guy, you wish the guy could just stop drinking all the alcohol. Same thing with B More Ryan. He's a great kid, but the alcohol is just chewing these guys up, killing them. And a lot of people want to see the train wreck, but I don't. I don't like seeing train wreck. I want to see the guy thriving. But Ben is a good guy. So right now, April and Honeyco are in Caron Beach in Phuket, and I'm in
Yeah,
Patong
yeah,
at the birthplace of Ricky Drama's
yes.
live streaming empire.
Saan si
This hotel, if I remember right, I think
Yeah,
I'm in the right place, where Ricky first came out as Fat Slop Blogs. He did a 15-day quarantine and then ended up here. And I think he spent a greater part of a year streaming and uploading out of Phuket. And I thought that was prime Ricky. That was when he was at his best. I think Ricky is funnier in Thailand than I do in Philippines for some reason. He just seems to be at his comedy best when he's here.
okay. Yeah. We
Yeah,
are already in Kata
Ricky in
City.
Phuket was great because nobody, I mean, he was killing it. Yeah, the alcoholism, it has to. And I know you don't drink anymore, and I don't either. I feel a lot better. I never drank much. I drank like I was like a 2 day a week drinking guy, just mostly beer, mostly light beer. But even giving that up, I haven't drank for 14 months now, not even one drop, and I feel a lot better. I gave up drinking for 2 years during COVID, and I gave that up to have a drinking little moment with Ricky. Actually, that's the day I broke it. And then I went on a sort of a tear there. I started drinking more, and then I gave it up again, and it just feels better not doing it. So April is now in Kata.
Yes, we are hitting the Kata. There's, it's way different vibes because they're much more a lot of on the side. Like that it's a different place. The Caron is really quite empty. Yeah, see, empty. There's
Yeah,
no
Kata. They said
kids.
80% of Kata is Russians. Remember that movie, Ernest?
Yeah,
The
it's actually
Russians
a
are
lot.
coming. The Russians are coming. I think they all came to Phuket.
Yeah, you can see a lot of. You will see there. There's more people over there, so we will see if there's a lot of Russians. Charot. The
I
Russians are
definitely
coming.
want to encourage Ernest Connell to write a book about his travels and all the good, the bad, and the ugly of all those countries that he went to. I would love to read that. I wish people would do real vlogging like that, where they or blogging with a B, because I like reading adventure stories like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to actually hear from different people's what
Well,
their experiences in travel. The Russians, the Russians
yeah.
indeed.
Well, you and Honeyco could do the same. You guys have been traveling a lot the last 2 years, and you definitely have
Yeah.
formulated your opinions, like Cambodia versus, you know, all the comparisons between all the countries and even the cities within the country, Phnom Penh versus Siem Reap. I know I like Phnom Penh better. I'm more of a Phnom Penh person. I know you and Honeyco love Siem
Yeah.
Reap. You loved Angkor Wat. Um, Interesting to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
I bet you do. I mean, imagine all the things you saw, and you're so articulate too. See, this is what happens. People are in the chat; they don't know the real person. So most of the people I've met from YouTube, and I've met tons of them, dozens and dozens. Most of them can't put a sentence together. It's more of a, you know, they can barely articulate even one half a sentence. So we met Ernest, and I didn't know much about his background. And all of a sudden, this guy could
Good.
talk, and he could tell stories, and he could, and he was a good listener too, which is so rare. Nobody ever listens to anybody. And I thought at the time, I go, this is the type of guy we need to do real vlogging, because starting with his military service, which he did his 20 years, and all his travels, he has a lot to offer.
Lotto in the house. The sweepstakes is in the house, Charot.
Lotto.
Lotto. Lotto. Lotto. Hi,
I
Lotto.
still buy books.
Not interested in the digital
Well,
nomad.
there you go, Lotto.
Oh.
There you go, Lotto. I mean, I agree with you. I was saying exactly what I said. Yeah, digital nomads. What is the life of a digital nomad? We live in Penang. It's all digital nomads. What do? They wake up, they get their morning coffee, they go out to the beach, they go back to their room, and they sleep. Then they wake up and they go out and find someone to fuck. And then they, do another 2 hours of work, and then they go to bed after they get drunk. Rinse and repeat. Every day
Okay.
is exactly the same. I mean, it's not bad if you're fucking different people every day, but you know, I mean, we've met a lot of people in Penang, and that's exactly their lifestyle. But they never leave the little square they live in. They just go to the next bar over to find a new fuck mates. Well, welcome, Lacho.
Yay. A lot of people in
So
the
the
house.
two
Thank you so much.
ladies are
Welcome to
in
Kata.
Kata, and I'm in Patong. Both are in Phuket. For those who aren't familiar with it, we were all here together, but they wanted to
Yes.
go check out Kata, and I wanted to check out Ricky Drama's old stomping ground pool here, which is where he came to when he first came to Phuket about 6 years ago.
The, the water looks dangerous. The, the water looks dangerous now. So wavy here, Lotto. The ocean. The ocean looks good, but the waves look dangerous.
Is anyone
The waves
surfing
is
out there?
so wavy. No, no one. No one's surfing in here, actually. They're just on the shore. Yeah.
It's wall to wall
Yeah,
Russians, right?
wavy. Ano ito, no? Yeah, a lot of Russians, Eric. Russians. It's the house of Russians. A lot of whites. We've been doing a lot of whites. They're not Americans for sure. The young,
Yeah, Kata doesn't have
the
any
young whites.
locals. Well,
Yeah,
it's cool. They have white people in
it's really
in Thailand. They don't have them in London anymore. They don't have them in New York or Los Angeles. Where did all those whites go? They had to go somewhere.
my signal. Oh, not. You're getting out. I think my signal is already. What do
Well,
you
why
call
don't
this?
you walk? Maybe you should walk up toward the town then, because at least you have an
Yeah, the signal
idea
is.
between the two locations.
Yep. Okay. Oh my gosh, our feet. Sun. Why it's so sandy, sandy? Wait, we have to go out
But
from here. We're already in the. Wait, 1967. The white light.
well,
Oh,
back in 1967, Detroit had the highest standard of living, better than New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles. If you look back, and I'd have to look it up again. I just saw the statistic recently, but if you go back in the heyday of Detroit, let's say 50s and 60s, um, they had a lower unemployment rate. They had a higher household income, higher per capita income than any of the other cities that we talked about as being the good cities. But our bullshit politicians, both parties,
yeah.
offshored our entire manufacturing base. And we're just starting to see it come back now. They thought it was okay to build up China as we decimated cities across the US, which was a horrible thing to do. Yeah, they did. I mean, people just have such a short memory when it comes to the history. Detroit was definitely the place to be back then. And there's a lot of suburbs of Detroit that even to now are really good. But I'm hoping Detroit makes a big comeback. I think it's starting to slowly make a comeback. Let's hope it, you know, comes back roaring like a lion because it's like they did everything humanly possible to destroy it. Our
We
leaders
are inside of.
are the biggest douchebags in the world. You know, if when you go to any country I've ever been to, like let's say China or Thailand or anywhere, their politicians are fighting to get the best deals for their country. I mean, it just seems so obvious, right? They're trying to cut deals that favor their people and their country. Our leaders were basically handing over the entire wealth of America to China and all these other countries out there. And the people who paid the price were everyday Americans who had to give up that auto manufacturing job for a service job that paid a third of what he made in the factory. Just remember those words of Ronald Reagan, the great Ronald Reagan, the nine scariest words in the English language. I'm from the federal government and I'm here to help. That's when you got to grab your possessions and run for the hills. I'd love to get into a discussion of that one because I could talk all day about that. I could talk all day about the bullshit war on drugs that the U.S. Uh, has waged. Think about all these people that spent life in prison or spent years in prison because of marijuana. Then they legalize it. It was legal before they made it illegal. And somehow, while it was legal, and so was LSD and everything else, the U.S. became the bastion of liberty and the place that people were streaming from all over the world and was the largest economy in the world and the leader militarily before we ever had drug laws. Now, every time I talked about this, I did a paper on this when I was in school, and I got trouble for it. They said he must be doing drugs. Nope, I've never done drugs. But it's just an example of how ludicrous, how absolutely foolish our policies can be. Let's see. The best deals for. You're right. Popeye one. Is that you, Popeye? Well, I don't know why your name looks different these days. Somehow the font changed. Oh, you're
Hi,
absolutely right, Popeye. They get the best deals for their
hi, Steve.
people.
Hi,
And our bullshit people like the Bush family, fucked up Bush family, the fucked up Clinton family, Obama, all the rhinos. The Republican Party used to be a party filled with rhinos, and most everybody was a rhino. They never followed what they said on deficit spending. They gave away the farm to China. You finally have someone in there right now who's taking it back. Now, let's say all this money comes in, this 18 trillion in investment. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to actually show up, but a lot of it has showed up. All these fabs that they did in Arizona, that showed up with TSMC. And I can tell you from my business, the growth in pharmaceuticals and data centers is so high, we can't even find people to hire qualified people. You can't even pay them enough. They won't even take the job. It's growing that fast. And that is all to do with Donald Trump and his decision to say, hey, we're not going to give you free shit anymore. You want to tariff us? We're going to tariff you. It's called reciprocal tariffs. Wow. Why is that such a shocking thing? You want free trade? Then cut all your trade barriers. We'll give you free trade. If you want to charge us 20%, we're going to charge you 20%. Wow. And to see the absolute meltdown, like somehow we owe the world. Doesn't the world remember that we saved their ass twice? You ever heard of Normandy? Have you ever heard of the great Chesty Puller? Have you ever heard of O'Grady and Smedley Butler and Dan Daly? Give me a break. Why would we feel we gotta be the piggy bank for China? It just blows my mind. Steve 25901 is in the house. Hello. We are in Phuket. I am in the hotel that made Ricky Drama famous as Fat Slob Vlogs.
Biggie.
You guys might remember that. Yes, you're off and on. April and Honeyco are in Kata Beach, which is just down the road, maybe 20
Ah,
minutes. This is Patong, which is where this is a hotel that Ricky came to right when he started doing live streams, I believe. After Vegas, after his quarantine, when he first arrived in Phuket, and I believe this is where he was, where he said he got his 33,000 Warren bucks. I think we all miss Ricky in his prime there, back in the Phuket era. Yes, so Steve is here. Popeye is here. Trump has brought in close to two. Yeah. Not 20 trillion in the Dow Jones. He definitely brought that too. But these are commitments. So Toyota, SoftBank, TSMC, the amount of data centers that we're pulling in right now, and all of our data centers through Microsoft, Meta, Grok, all of these Gemini, these are going up all over Europe. They're going up all through Asia. I have a map. I can't share it. It's behind a paywall thing, and so it's kind of protected. That shows you a map of all of the data centers going up in Frankfurt, Munich, and Berlin alone. You would be blown away. It's like a modern day gold rush. The other one is ASML, which is one of my clients in uh, Eindhoven, Netherlands. They got shit coming out like you can't even believe. The whole freaking town. And Phillips, it's incredible. So I've added about 36 to 38% wealth since Donald Trump became elected. My money in all of my stocks, bonds, 401ks, money. I have, of course, IRAs. Most of it's in stocks. Has gone up somewhere between 36 and 38%. I haven't checked it, but it's getting close to 40%. That's astonishing. We're talking, it's hitting seven figures plus and a half. And all of that can go back to Trump. See, the stock market didn't collapse when he did reciprocating tariffs, did it? The stock market's at an all time high. Unemployment's at 4.2%. Popeye remembers this back when he was in the military when Reagan brought the unemployment rate down to 5.6%. They said he was a genius, he was a hero, never seen anything like it. Trump has it at 4.2% with the highest labor participation in the history of the United States. And he's a scumbag. I mean, come on. What the hell, man? People, Papa also remembers when he went into the Navy that inflation was at 14%, interest rates were at 21%, and unemployment was at 10%. The Malaise index under Jimmy Carter. And Reagan brought it down and got a 49 state to one sweep in 1984 against Walter Fritz Mondale. Well, all of that Reagan did, and I loved Reagan with a 600 ship Navy. Reagan was marvelous, but Reagan's numbers don't even come close to matching what Trump has done. As much as I love Reagan, Reagan didn't shut the border down with no illegals. Reagan passed amnesty. They naturalized 3 million people. He was promised a border deal in the next bill. They never took it up. He fell for their bullshit. We're talking back in the Tip O'Neill era and the slimy Jim Wright era. But 1.5 years since Trump took office, they've had virtually no illegal alien crossings. Coal. We should have coal. You know, hey, Big Kevin, how you doing? Kevin's in the house. Nine. Oh, that's a good pay increase, huh? We're still in Quran. Okay, that's okay. You guys can just walk and talk. I can't hear your audio anymore, Honeyco and April, but that's okay. We can see the video. Yeah, 19% increase. I just got a massive pay increase, highest I've ever gotten in my life in one click. Okay. And plus all of the investments, which has gone through the roof. It's it's astonishing. I mean, how ungrateful are people? And then these fucking morons in Iran, they've been terrorizing the world. They had almost had a coup, and no other president had the balls to do anything about it. And you're going to hold them accountable for that? Get real, man. If that country had a nuke, all of these 401k things would be out the window the first time that nuke gets detonated. Okay. Yeah. Don't let people be at you. The fake news. Reagan gave you the pay bump. That's good. I love Reagan. He was my governor growing up. I always considered him the greatest president, going back to Abraham Lincoln. But if you just look at the numbers, Reagan did not have as good a numbers as Trump. Now, I would say Reagan took over a much bigger mess under Carter, under long-term stagflation. We had a very dilapidated military at the end of the Vietnam War that wasn't rebuilt. He canceled every system, the B-1 bomber, the MX missile, the Midget Man missiles. I can go on and on. Reagan came in, had massive military increase, uh, got us to a 600 ship navy. One thing this war had better teach the United States is the one branch of the military that you can't live without is the U.S. Navy. You cannot live without the Navy. As much as I love and respect the Army and the Air Force and the Marines and so on, you cannot live without a very, very dominant U.S. Navy. By the way, the U.S. Navy is the world's second largest air force. U.S. Marine Corps was the third largest air force. So I'm not saying the Air Force is not needed. Of course, it's needed. But if you had to really goose up one, you have to do the Navy. You need supremacy on the water, and Reagan knew that. And I think we brought that number down to 200 ships, or like I haven't looked it up lately, but we need to get that back to absolute domination levels. Where are we at now? Okay, well, Caron.
We're gonna get some water. We still have to walk to Kata, you know. Get some water. Karon, karon.
Carter was a joke. He's probably the worst president in history. Him and Biden. I used to travel to Europe during Biden's time. I would have people, even the left wing uh, people in the Netherlands, would say, long before anybody was talking about this, they would say, "How did you let this guy who looks like a cadaver become the president of the United States?" And I told them, we didn't let him become president. They stole the election. All the elections were mail in ballots. How does, how did, do you really think 15 million more people voted for Joe Biden than Barack Obama? I mean, anyone who believes that needs to have their head examined. Nobody went to the polls because of COVID. There was mail in ballots. It was the biggest bunch of crap of all time. Trump himself had the 76, we had 3 or 4 million more votes than he did in 2016. We actually have a man who was elected 3 times to be president. We haven't seen that since 1944 with FDR. Yeah, the Navy is by far, there are things that the Air Force can do that the Navy can't do. you know, it's surprising to learn that, most of the world, all of our European allies, they don't have a long bomber fleet. Okay. They don't have things equivalent to the B 2, the B 52, and the bone, the B 1B. We don't have, they don't have that. We need to not only maintain that, we need to drastically increase it to keep our edge, because those are our two edges, our Navy and our long range bombers. The short range stuff, the Navy and the Marines can do all that without the need of the Air Force, really. Not to say they don't come in handy, of course they do. But I think we need to realize we're not going to be dealing with mechanized infantries like we were thinking in the Soviet Union era. Massive howitzers, tanks rolling across the battlefield. That's not how it's going to be. It's going to be drones. It's going to be missiles. I know we're working on laser technology. I think a few more years from now, we're going to see these drones cooked right out of the sky, and they already have them on some of the weapons. I heard Popeye talking the other day about the phalanx system, the R2D2 looking character that can do 3,000 rounds per minute. That is an amazing thing, of course. But one thing he also said, and I think he said, if you need the phalanx system, something desperately went wrong, because you have about 7 to 10 different systems before the last ditch one, the phalanx, comes into play. And if we can create a laser fleet, because lasers go at the speed of light, the minute, and they only cost dollars versus hundreds of thousands to millions per shots. I hope they keep developing it, and they develop it for a lot of the jets too, so they can, you know, eliminate all this problem with very cheap drones. Steve, the Dems are cheaters, man. I mean, I mean, come on. I don't even think they're Americans anymore. Yeah, we got we so the Navy's, I think we all would agree. I know you're an Air Force guy, and of course, we don't mean to diminish anyone's line of service. But the hardware itself, the actual ability to move an armada into a region and take over is something that I don't think anyone else really has that capacity. And whatever we can do to make that more dominating is better. Of course, it's also nice that you can just dump Marines into. I saw the some of the footage. Did you see some of that? Having Marines go back to being Marines instead of Army guys. They basically became the Army. They're trying to get them to go back to being the Marines, the original version. They just drop them in on a rope. They come in and take over the damn ship, steer it back to where they want it to go. I mean, can you imagine how terrifying that must be? I I'm going to make a plug for my book again. If you don't want to read and pay for it, I'd give it to you for free because I just want you to read it. All about the Navy corpsman. Corpsman. It says it on the dust jacket. The Navy SEALs get all the glory. They get all the publicity, and rightfully so. They deserve it. But the Navy corpsman had over 1,200 people die in battle, and they've had the highest percentage per capita of Medal of Honor winners in the history of the United States of any unit in the military. Read the book. Listen to some of the acts of heroism. It's truly amazing that you can train. The average corpsman was 21 years old. Imagine you're training a 21-year-old to sit there and bounce between wounded soldiers, wounded Marines mainly, and you're being shot at. And you got the hemostat there. You've got the kit as the bullets are flying. You're working on people in the battle. Unbelievable. These guys deserve all the credit that they could possibly get. And they seem to have not gotten that credit, or at least they've been a little bit forgotten because Hollywood has focused so much on other units like the Delta Force and, of course, the beloved Navy SEALs. But read about those corpsmen. I think you'll be very inspired. Oh, well, you can go to some of them are not in Amazon, Ernest.
Amazon.
The ones that are published by through Gumdrop, which are my HVAC ones, they're not available on there. But on the ones that are military, and I got a few of them coming out. I've been working on them. These are smaller books, 100 to 200 page books. Um, so Amazon.com under my name, Eric Dowell, DOWELLERIC, or April Dowell. She's got some too that are quite good. And then Honeyco's real name is Erlinda Valdez, ERLINDA VALDEZ. And I think the Corman one is only $2 or $3. I didn't want to charge anything for these. Anything I get on the military ones are all going to be donated 100% of the proceeds to the Wounded Warriors Foundation. Now, a lot of them at $3, you may be surprised. If I think there's been about
Meron
10,000
tayo.
sold, so it ends up being a decent amount of money. I mean, I don't expect them to get rich off it, but I expect them to get some help. So all the military ones are going to be all that money's being donated. I got a check for $41,000 2 weeks ago for my HVAC book there, and I got another one coming out. I've got a contract with Gumdrop to produce the first 5 books with the potential to go another 5 to 10 books. Those are some of those are 600 to 800 pages long, and they charge like $100 for those books. So that's not really an Amazon thing.
Ano,
We've got other books that we're working on. We have some pen names, and some of the really controversial ones we're not using our own name on because we don't want to get I don't want to get banned from the
okay,
Philippines because
okay.
I'm putting out a book where I'm telling the truth about it. So that's gonna some of those have pen names. We could give you that privately.
Dito.
Honeyco just put out her cookbook. People don't like Filipino food, and so part of the reason is they don't use real ingredients. They use lousy ingredients. So we, researched this, and I started making for them adobo years ago and other dishes. I cooked it and I used the top notch ingredients, and everyone loved it. They said this is the best Filipino food ever that they ever tried. And really, all I did, if it called for soy sauce, I used real soy sauce, good soy sauce. If it called for vinegar, I used real vinegar. Filipinos don't use real ingredients; they use just sloppy, basically crap. You love Filipino food? Well, you might be the
Yes, that
only
one.
Western
Oh
guy
yeah.
who does. That book costs $10, Ernest. We can give you that for free. You've been such a free of charge.
Baba.
Yeah, I don't like to, like we have to sometimes cover the cost of printing and stuff like that, but I don't like to make money on books that are important books like military history or heroes. There's going to be I've been
Guys,
doing
okay.
deep research for months on the history of Clark Airfield and the history of Subic. And so there's going to be a Clark book filled with, I think I've already looked for and
Ta,
found over
baba.
250 pictures, and it's going to go through the history in the American era. There's a whole lot of expats and ex military that want books like that. And I felt I could put them out and then donate the military history books to charity. Now, the other ones we're making money on, so we're not going to donate those, but to you we will. But to anybody in YouTube we will, but general public no. If you go also, Ernest, if you're an avid reader in Amazon Unlimited, which I think is $10 a month, the books are free if you happen to be part of Amazon Unlimited. We have several of them on Amazon Unlimited for free, and then on that platform, Kindle Unlimited, I think it's called. We also run promos where I give the book away for free for a week just to get it in people's hands. We're also on Apple. We're on uh, Ingram Spark. We're on about Smash. We're on about 22 different platforms worldwide. Google Books, TikTok Books. There's a lot. And what I'm trying to do on top of that is getting Barnes and Noble, getting published in Germany and Japan. I have partners in each of those places where they're going to do all of the promotional work. They're going to do all of the everything through their publishers, and then I'm going to give them half the proceeds for their efforts. So if we get both of those landed, we'll be in about 25 different locations online, and then we're in. Uh, I'll be in over 5,000 libraries of the 17,000 libraries and schools that Gumdrop uses. I'll be in 5,000 of them with the educational stuff, the HVAC related stuff.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Well, that's awesome. VFW is fantastic, and I'm if it ever really takes off, I think we're going to be able to donate them 30,000. But I want to be able to donate them millions. I want to be able to donate every. I want to, we just started doing this, so we don't expect it to be
Ah,
millions yet. But I wanted to eventually get there because when that dude lost his legs in a war fighting for other people's freedom, I think that we
yun.
should do stuff for those people, pay off their mortgage. In a dream life, I would love to donate it directly, even
Kaya,
getting away from the
kaya,
foundations and like find a person
go.
who is about to be kicked out of their house and go pay their mortgage off personally. Just hey, boom, here's your house. I'll buy the house. I'll resell it to you for $1 for tax purposes. That would be my dream of this book world. I want to give back to those people. Yeah, I feel the same way. By the way, for cops, for firemen, we were limited in how much time we can allocate. I've probably been averaging 10 hours a day for the past 2 years, focusing on writing. And thankfully, April and Honeyco are doing all the marketing part of it. I'm not doing any of that really. April has a marketing degree and she's putting it to use, and they get a percentage of it, and they get, of course, 100% of their own book sales. Doc M, how you doing, Doc? Yeah, first responders. You're right, Ernest. That's it. Yeah, we're here, Doc. This was the first hotel that I remember Ricky doing live streams from in 2020 when he first moved to Thailand. When he said that Warren H had given him $33,000 and he had blown through all the money, and which of course he. And I desperately miss Ricky and his. Um, uh, Still a great guy, of course. Great place, yeah. We're so torn, man, because and I think Ernest can appreciate Ernest just recently, Vietnam, and Ernest had been to 22 countries this year. We there's so many places that we like. So we live about 6 months a year in Vietnam, and we've been living in Malaysia. We love Malaysia, Kota Kinabalu, um, Kuching, Johor Bahru, Georgetown, and of course Kuala Lumpur. And then when we're not in Malaysia, we come to Thailand. So we've been in Chiang Mai, Pattaya, here at Phuket. Uh, seems like, and of course Bangkok. And so if I boil it down, it's really hard for me to choose between those two countries because as my second country, I think Vietnam will always be the first one because I love it there so much. But it's so close. Phuket versus Da Nang, or for city life, Kuala Lumpur. It's just really, really tough. So I love them. I love them all. If you took a poll of my kids, you guys have all seen my kids, and a lot of you know my kids. If you had them write down where do you want to live, one's going to say Kuala Lumpur, one's going to say Bangkok, one's going to say Chiang Mai, one's going to say Da Nang. Uh, Honeyco and April, they probably would pick Da Nang on that list, but it is a tough, tough list. I think the thing with Phuket, I think Phuket is probably the best place in Thailand. Overall, if you add it up, it's got a lot of the things that make the Bangkok great, but it's got a beach, perfect sunsets, and nightlife, everything. But I think the only drag on this one would be it's a little more expensive, a little bit more expensive than Phuket and Bangkok, I would say. But if you're a real expert in Phuket, you probably know how to find the deals, and I'm sure that a lot of that can be mitigated. But it seems like it's a tad bit more expensive, but you get a lot for that extra money. Internet monster. Way too many tourists. Yeah. Well, but I got my own take on that. Like since we moved to Da Nang, Da Nang became the hottest place, right? Everyone, it's like nonstop tourists. When Honeyco and I went to Da Nang 3 years ago, we stayed there for a while, and it was completely dead. Now it's wall to wall. It's like the new Bali, I guess. The good news, though, of course, there are downsides to that. The good news of that is, though, there's been maybe 100 restaurants that have been added since that time. All kinds of services, all kinds of deals. So it just depends on how you look at it. I'm not a probably wouldn't do well in a province. I lived in a province once, but got really bored with it because it lacked all the amenities that I like because I grew up in the city. So I don't know. When the tourists come, the prices go up, the traffic goes up, but the amenities also go up. So it's really depends on what the person wants, I guess. Yeah, we're so grateful for Doc M showing up, and Kevin, Ernest, and Internet Monster, of course. Yeah, we're grateful for all of you guys. Every one of you is a decent, cool person that we love, and Honeyco's known so many of you long before I did, and she's so thankful for everything. You guys were very supportive of her over the years. It is, Ernest. Da Nang is just ridiculous. And the thing that people don't realize about Da Nang is, it's a big city. It's 500 square miles around that. It's about 1.3 million people. But the amount of cranes in the air, the amount of construction work is unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. I think I counted something like 50 cranes in the air one day. I was out counting them. So they're expecting that to boom more than anything, but it's hard to beat it because the water, the sand. It's got to be the cleanest beach out there. The food is amazing. There's so many good things about Penang, but it's lacking the nightlife of Phuket or Pattaya and parts of Bangkok. It has some. If you want to go for hardcore nightlife, we're talking wall to wall bitches and hookers and stuff. You got to. Ho Chi Minh has that. We've been to the places in Ho Chi Minh that has that. They have a little bit of that in Hanoi as well. But now, if you need a a girl for the night, they got them galore in Da Nang too. But the game is different. They'd ride around on mopeds, and somebody comes up to you, or the massage places. Every massage place I've been to has home service available with extra service. So, but it's just the setup is different. Couldn't wait to leave. Yeah, wow. Well, yeah. I mean, I hope you do get to Da Nang. Ernest was just over there. I think a lot of people are pointing this out though, and it's definitely noticeable in Bangkok as well. The tourism is way down, way down. They went from 40 million to 32 million last year. That's an 8 million drop. That's huge. And they're expecting another drop. And if they change this visa rule, which hasn't been implemented yet, this 2 month deal to 1 month, I think you're going to see that number continue to drop. And I think Vietnam is the beneficiary of where they're all going. The Philippines number is also way down. The Philippines was so desperate that they started to count returning OFWs as tourists. When you strip out the OFW number, there was only 4.5 million tourists from other countries to the Philippines last year. But Vietnam went from 18 million to 22 or 23 million. They're expecting 28 million this year. Do they cook and clean also? Well, if you tell them to cook and clean, see, here's the thing. I want to say something on that. I have done some shows lately about simps. Now, everyone who thinks they're not a simp usually is the biggest simp in history. If you're the one paying the bills, I hate to sound like this, it's going to sound really kind of cocky and arrogant, but you're giving these people a lifestyle they could never dream of in a million years. If you want them to give you a massage, cook, clean, blowjob, swallow your cum, let you have their best friend, threesomes, orgies, you just have to set the stage on day one that this is what it's all about. You'd be amazed how, if you just set that expectation of whatever it is, I'm not advocating all those things, I'm just saying, you'd be amazed how people go along with it. Because if you let them turn you into a simp, and you have to be babysat and you have to do what you're told and do the chores like Frank has to do, but yeah, you get what you deserve. Why did you leave the US to go abroad? You said you wanted to get away from those American women who are dominant, who are domineering, and who want to wear the pants. And then you go to Southeast Asia and you put the pants on them day one. I see it every time, over and over. Why would you do that? Next time you go to Nam, go to Cameron. Well, we want to go there. Absolutely want to go there. We were going to go there, and we kind of waited too long to where it got into the hottest of hot seasons. And that's over by Nha Trang. That's where Philip Janik was staying. And a lot of people that I like the Vagabond and Wake people, and Will and Fluffy Travels, that we know them really well. And Kevin got to meet them. Most people like Da Nang better than Nha Trang, but it's very close. It's neck and neck. And I have not been there, so I can't comment. But I've talked to tons of people that went. And they said it's very, very close, and it's a beautiful place, and it's definitely on my list. Thank you for that encouragement. But yeah, so we're talking about simps. Yeah, so people give me a lot of, you know, they don't like my setup. You know, I have my polyamorous situation, and we have a lot of other. I have a few other friends. So but we all are very friendly with each other. The situation wouldn't work unless everyone was sort of into each other. So I had part of the harem was in the Netherlands. There's another one from Hanoi, and we all support each other. Now I can't say anymore that the Philippines harem is intact. My 17 people that I used to bring on live streams. You're right. You're right, Papa. And I mean, come on, it's not just Frank. It's virtually you are what you are, Eric. Yeah, that's what I am, and I like who I am. I like my life, and I don't apologize for it. I like it. I wish I would have figured all that out years ago. And what I see on YouTube, even some people that am very friendly with, they're like, it's like they signed up for their simpflation. No, they signed up for their. They say they're not on their show, but every move they make is just Simp City. And it's almost everybody on YouTube. It's like, I don't want to say the names, but I think you can fill in the blanks. And I've met everybody from YouTube. I can't think of anyone that I didn't meet. I met all the famous ones too, the ones that have 50 to 200,000 subs. I met all of those guys, all the most pathetic men I've ever met in my life, people I would never hire in a million years to work at our company, pitiful guys begging on the side when the camera goes off. I've met all those people too. It's like they are simps on steroids. Frank is the ultimate simp. I think Frank, we should change the name from simps to Franks, but he's really not that much worse than any of the other guys that are led about by from Filipinas like a ring is through their nose. They're being led about. I see it every fucking day. And I hear it on YouTube, people that are very friendly with. It is absolutely pathetic. Don't let it happen to you. You're better off being a red pill guy than you are lining up and bending over and grabbing your ankles for a Filipina. So if the Filipina doesn't want to treat you like the man of the house and doesn't want to honor you and doesn't want to, have a relationship where it's both of you are meeting somewhere in the middle, then why are you with that person? Because a lot of people, the answer is because they're desperately lonely, like absolutely suicidally lonely. I could tell you, I said this yesterday in my show. There's two famous people, not famous, but well known people that have confessed to me that they're really homosexuals, closet. I'm not going to, that would be wrong. To sucking dicks and taking it in the ass. But, the vast majority of the rest of them are just desperately lonely men whose egos are too big to admit it. Instead of meeting with people and having a relationship with men with other males, men to men. I'm not talking about sexual. I'm just being like manly things. Guy you go out golfing with or a guy you go fishing with. People who can talk, who can listen, who can go back and forth. That they're not pathetic, sad, lonely people, and don't let it happen to you. Go meet people. Go talk to people. Popeye said it the other day. Go to the bingo hall. Strike up conversations, Get out on your scooter. Go to the gym. Go meet people. Talk to people. Real human beings. I am so grateful I got to meet Ernest Connell. I always liked him from a distance. He's always been very nice guy, sweet guy, supportive. But I got to meet him and talk to him for a few hours. We got to go out to dinner and go to the beach. I was so impressed with him. I told Honey, because this guy's rocketed the coolest guy. Very, very informative. He's a retired military guy. He said, as he said, he has more degrees than a thermometer. But he's a cool guy, and he can listen. He can talk. He can just act like a human being. And and he's out living, going out in the world, going places, meeting people, and that's what we should be modeling it after, right there. House. And Big Kevin is going to come back to Thailand, aren't you, Big Kevin? Kevin said he's going to come back for 3 weeks. I think that's a bit extreme. You should probably make that 3 months, Kevin. But let people know you're going, and you know, uh, don't be ringing any bells. Let them ring your bell. You say, hey, change the phrase, no money, no honey, to no honey, no money. Make them work for it, Kevin. Not run in and out in an hour. Make them work for it. He should, Popeye. He definitely. I mean, you can't. Come on, simply you're a person, a house, another man's wife, and you lose 2.5 million in a land scam, 5-6 deal. You lose 24,000 in a bar, Ladyboy bar on day one. But I said it yesterday. I'm probably going to take some flack here. If Frank ends up a homeless or out on the street, I'm not going to. That's not going to make me happy. I don't want to see Gilda get hurt by all the actions. I think Frank should be held accountable. He should get the same justice that Barry got because he's been calling people pedophiles and all kinds of names, contacting people's businesses, meddling in other people's lives for years, doxing everybody, threatening everybody. That's what happens when you're 5'2" and you look like Howdy Doody with little freckles on your face. You have nothing that you could do in real life, so you have to do it online. You live by threats, you live by intimidation. I've never been intimidated by, and I'm never going to be, but I don't hate him either. I wish Frank would just stop being Frank and be a normal guy for everybody, and I think people would actually embrace him. I know that's asking a lot. As soon as I can. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right, Kevin. Fuck, if you're paying the bills and she wants to run in and out, here, hurry up, stick it in. You know the old 333 thing? I got this from Mick Fisher. I don't want to say that I invented this. Um, it's called the 333. 3 inches, 3 minutes, and 3,000 pesos. I changed that to the 999. 9 inches, 9 minutes, and 900 pesos. Yeah, she does, and nobody knows this world better than you do, Popeye. Because you know, I hate covering the Frank ground because you're much more eloquent at it than I am. But you know that she was sent out to find a simp, and this is how it works. I mean, nobody wants to do that because they want to suck up to the Filipina. Oh, they're so wholesome. They're so wholesome. They have family values different than America. No, they don't. The world's highest amount of broken homes. You can look it up. The highest number of single mothers of any country in the world. They do not have better family values than Americans do. This is bullshit. I've lived there for 10 years. Anyone who says that is completely full of shit. And in this case, and sometimes it's not their fault, they face age discrimination. They're not allowed to work after the age of 35. It's very hard unless you have a college degree and you uh, have exceptionally good English, like April. that you could get a job at an older age. Um, so it's a really shitty setup. If they had family values, they wouldn't treat their children with such bad educations, have such horrible infrastructure, tainted food and water, and they wouldn't treat their senior citizens like shit. So I don't see any family values any better than Vietnam or Thailand or America. It's just all horse shit. And then you go over there, and those people are being sent out by their husbands. You know how many people I was with that was married, and after I fucked them, one girl was like 6 or 7 times. She finally came to me and said, "I have something I have to confess to you. I'm married." I said, "Wow, really?" And they go, "Does your husband live with you?" "Yeah." Is he an abusive man? Is he an addict or what? No, he's a good man. He works 7 days a week. I threw her out in 1 second. But everybody I met, they were cheating on their husband, they were cheating on their boyfriend. And then I found out, this is hard to accept, they're often being sent out by the boyfriend and the husband to find the Franks of the world. So it's really shocking when you think about it. And again, I'm not bashing them. I'm really not. I love the Philippines. I like Filipinas. But I'm not going to sit here and bullshit the community and say that it's some, family values epicenter because it's not. All right. Well, so here's the deal, Kevin. You tell them, hey, you want my dick, you're going to have to work for it. You make them work for it. You tell them, hey, let's say that your thing was you want to have threesomes, okay? And you tell the person on day one, look, I got this fetish, I like doing this, blah, 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 blah. Or I want the girl to be bisexual because I like watching her and another woman go after it as they're going after me. I'm not advocating these things, I'm just stating them. If that's what you are into, then you set the stage on day one. And you would be amazed how many people are also into those things. Oh, certainly, Kevin. I mean, there's no question he's number one. How could you get any worse than that? I mean, how do you not know a person had 8 or 10 kids or whatever it was for 2 years? I mean, you got to be so out of touch. It's not even funny. And I'm not saying it to really. I'm not even trying to attack him. I'm saying it for educational because the problem is in the YouTube community and the expat community, it's often the blind leading the blind. I've met from the most famous ones, like Tim K and the Geos of the world. These people are all losers, major losers. As soon as the camera goes off, the begging starts, the hitting you up for money. I mean, this is common and well documented. So I'm saying it more educationally. Don C is in the house. We are in Phuket, yeah, Phuket right now, Don C. Do you remember this, Don? Because this is about the same time you met Ricky when he first was vlogging. He came to Phuket, and I believe this is the hotel he was in where he first started vlogging, doing live streams after his quarantine. I think he quarantined in Bangkok, got on a plane, and landed right here at this hotel. And he was sitting here in one of these things where he said, I'm broke now. I blew through all of my Warren H. bucks, my $33,000 Warren bucks. How many of you remember that one? And I loved Ricky in those early days. I love him still. as a good man. But in the early days, I mean, he was just so funny. You know, the Warren deal, the Fazio thing with the three abductions, twice was abducted by aliens in his car. Um, the Frank deal, the Geo and the sex for visa scams. Now we got Heidi with the latest. I'm gonna die if you don't send me money. Of course, you had the Mike one from years ago. I don't want to see anybody die. I hate seeing people even stub their toe. I feel the pain if I see somebody hurting in any way. But so much of what we're seeing is just total bullshit. Yes, it was Don C. The start. And I'd love to see Ricky get back to Thailand because it's hard to get inspired in the Philippines. The Philippines is so blah. And Thailand, it was funnier. He was funnier. He was had more material. I think it was. He's still funny now. He's still good. From Barack, I thought it was very funny. Steve, you are one of the few good ones. Yeah, well, thank you. But you are too, because what is the one thing? I mean, I don't mean to say this. I mean, I hate saying stuff like this because it sounds like we're trying to be arrogant here. But how many people that you and I know that even have a job? We're like the only two that are working. And a lot of these guys that were in their 30s and 40s and said, I'm going to retire. Like, why would you even think of retire? I wasn't even near my prime at age 30. I was a manager. I was a director of lower level than I am now, but I have 100 times more knowledge and expertise in the business than I did when I was in my 30s. Why would you want to leave at the prime of your life, even 40? IQ test the other day, and I felt that it really was slipping. And then I started writing about 2 years ago, spending about 8 to 10 hours a day on that. And I noticed that the IQ, as well as taking creatine, about 10 grams a day for cognitive is very good. Just creatine monohydrate, the cheapest formulation you can find, has tremendous cognitive benefits. But I took the IQ test, and I thought, okay, I'd taken about 7 or 8 of them before in real life, where they have a psychologist interviewing you, and I've only lost 1 point. Now it's an online version, so it might not be quite as accurate. But when I was sitting around, kind of going through the motions, let's say 10 years ago when I first, 12 years ago when I first moved to the Philippines, I had a year or two there. Oh, well, during the COVID time when we were really locked down, I bet you if you would have taken that IQ test, it would have been 130. I mean, it literally has that much of an effect. Just staying engaged, keeping your brain going strong, the acumen, the acuity, everything. Reading books, exercising, meeting people, having face to face discussions with people, challenging yourself every year to something bigger and better than the year before. Fuck, it's unbelievable. Stole a full cake. I must have missed that one. It's too bad he doesn't have his videos up. I'd go back and look for that one. Well, I think it might be the best thing for you, Popeye, because everyone's different. But you're not disengaged. You said yourself, you're going to the bingo hall. You have your family. You're riding your bike everywhere. You're not the prototypical basement boy who's sitting there eating Cheetos and staring at 10 screens a day. That's not you. Now you have a different thing too because you're a triple dipper. You have your military pension, 20 years. You have your city or pension, and then you're going to have your Social Security. I'm not saying everyone should keep working, but I think that if you know yourself better than anybody else. I know myself. When I get disengaged, I feel like my IQ starts to fall off the edge, you know, like straight down a canyon wall. My mental health starts to be affected. Everything. So I think everyone's individual, and I'm not saying everyone should do exactly what I've done or what Don's done. I know Don retired at age 60, I want to say 62, retired for 2 or 3 years and got bored with it. And he was running an elephant sanctuary. He was volunteering, doing a lot of good works. But then he got tired of it and he wanted to go back to work. And now he's doing the best work of his life at age 67. Yeah, you are a pioneer in that field for sure. Doc C. Don C. Yeah, Don C. Yes. Lotto. Only 1% population has an IQ above 131. Yeah, well, I'm one of those. I'm in that 1% camp. See, you have to realize something. I mean, I don't usually talk about this very much, but I already had finished AP calculus at ninth grade and had about oh gosh, what was it, 70 units before I ever finished 12th grade. I was able to take all the AP courses, all the CLEP tests, and honors courses, and so on. I don't like to say that because I think IQ can be overrated as well. I am in the engineering world, and the IQ test is skewed toward people that have their brain work that way. It's not a general knowledge test. A lot of it has to do with patterns and logic and things like this that is skewed toward people like engineers and physicists and chemists, and that's very few people. So I've known people that had a lower IQ, much lower, that were brilliant at what they do. So I'm not trying to say anything other than when I got disengaged, I noticed that it felt like I was dumber than ever in my life. The more engagement I have, the more I feel like that brain. And we know this is true um, because we know that the brain, and this goes back to Sir John Eccles, who won the Nobel Prize for his work on the brain back in 1963. Neuroplasty, how your brain can actually create new gray matter in your brain. Like they've done a lot of comparisons on people that positive thinkers versus negative thinkers. Why do you think Fortune 500 companies focus so much on positive thinking? People who are deeply involved in positive thinking, they've proven that they have far uh, more neuroplasty happening with their physical brain matter than people who are always down and always negative. So when we engage ourselves, we can accomplish a lot. If I remember correctly, that's good. I like that. I don't think he ever told anyone. 1,500 baht cake. I would love to look that one up. Yeah, you got Hector, you got your bike, you got your daughter, you got your bingo, you got YouTube. You're not a disengaged person. I think you're a reader too. someone who reads and researches. Here's the real bottom line, Popeye and Don and everyone listening. What makes you happy? Now, if you're happy looking back on all the accomplishments you had and you just want to take it easy and have enjoy your life, that's great, man. I'm 100% for it. But I'm a very impatient person. Like I'm very high strung. I need to constantly challenge myself. And I'm not saying everyone's like that, but for me, and Don C is another one, it's just one of those things that we're happier working than not working. Now, I'm not criticizing people. My mom's the same way. My mom was still working as a nurse in her mid 80s. She didn't want to, they finally had to make her quit a few years ago. They had to. But she tried to retire when she was 72. She stayed out for a year, went absolutely bonkers crazy, and went back to work and was happy again. And since she retired, she's been miserable again. I think everyone's just sort of wired a little bit different in that knows. Let's see. Steve is back. Steve's a great listener. He's You did a good job, Kevin. Your show's been doing great. I think you should not only get Richard to be there, I think you should get Popeye up there. I think you should get Don C. These are the best. I did a show 4 years ago, maybe five, where I had the MVP of panelists, and I awarded Popeye the greatest panelist in YouTube history. And I believe that. But I think Don C can be the funniest one in history. Don usually comes in like a sniper and he and then he leaves. But while he's there, he's funny. And if you can get panelists like those guys, you've had some really good numbers lately. You've had some good super chats and so forth. I think that I'd encourage you to do more shows and have the caliber of panelists like that. But you've been doing good too, Kevin. And you actually are an example of Sir John Eccles and neuroplasticity. Okay, you had a bolo come skirting through your skull, and you could barely put a sentence together. You know, when you were vlogging, let's say 2019, you still had a lot of that going on. You're way more lucid now. You're a completely different person, Kevin. I know you're on a fraction of the medication, but you sound like you're 100 points higher in IQ in the last year to 2 years than you used to. Check it out. If you think I'm not John Eccles, neuroplasticity, it's real science. Yeah, got rewired, man. That's why people should never quit. That's why you don't want to give up. Let's say I know you got laid in Thailand and Vietnam. I was there for some of it. Um, you went from jacking off for 10 years to fucking girls. That alone, at least you have the memory of. You have to get off your lazy ass. You have to go meet the girls. You got to bring them in your room. You got to take your pants down. I mean, hey, you had some disasters. One showing up in Asia with only $12 and 27 bags. That's a disaster. You could have done better than that. But you know what? I respect you a lot because you made the effort. You tried rather than give up or do some bullshit show, always trying to convince everyone that you know. banging this girl, banging that girl, when we know that the people saying that their dick hasn't been hard for decades. I respect the fact that you went against the odds. You came back to Asia. Did you have some flare ups of disastrous moments? Yes, you did. But I'd rather get up on that plate and strike out than never get up to the plate. And I think people who know the truth, they respect you. And I know Don knows this too, because when I got done with you in Bangkok, Don's the one who picked you up with your 20 bags. And we dealt with you when you were at your lowest ebb. But you know what? You rebounded. And, you know, and if you make it back again, you notice we don't see a lot of critics anymore saying Kevin will never make it back. Kevin will never go back to Asia. All those critics were wrong. It's nice proving critics wrong, isn't it? Always nice. And I think people who actually know you, that saw you in action, they're proud of you because you tried your best. You got snookered into it, you know, ring the bell, and the girl's going to rub your little Buddha belly, going to come up and rub your head, shine it, you know, get some armor all. She's going to let you rub her tits. And I mean, if you compare that to the alternative of just stagnation, sitting there watching porn all day, come on, that's big step up, buddy boy. It looked like 20 bags. He did, Steve. I mean, I'm not trying to pump him because I got mad at Kevin sometimes because Kevin will tell you we had some tiffs because I felt like he wasn't trying for part of that time, and but then he would always come back and prove everyone wrong. And he would get back in the batter's box and take a swing. Don't ever give up. That's the bottom line. Don't give up. If your brain got smacked around with a bolo, work on it till it rewires itself. If you got dumped by a woman or something bad happened, don't give up because something bad happened. Come back to it. Even if you had some bad investments, you know, learn from the mistake. Get back into the game of investing. Invest in the Fortune 500 companies. Okay, the S&P 500. That's where 100% of the money I have goes, except for I have some in gold and copper. All of it. My paycheck is decimated by the time I get my final amount because everything is dumped in pre-tax. Everything that I can legally do. So let's say I made a bad choice at some point in my life, and I did when I was in my 20s. I got involved with credit cards, boy. That took me years to recover from that. You suddenly, you own your home. I had a couple of houses. They're mailing you pre-approved credit cards like right and left. You're out, ding, 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 and you never think the bill's going to come due. Well, it comes due, right? Along with the 22% interest rates. So I had to put those in the blender one day, cut them all up, stop doing that. And once I made that decision, the savings grew like crazy, as well as the other investments. But you don't give up because you made a mistake. You get back in the fucking batter's box and you try, try, try. I'll give you another example, a personal one. I shouldn't say this, but April and I had a big tiff a couple of years ago, about 3 years ago. And she went her way, I went my way for a couple months. And then we got back together and we've been doing better than ever. We have a great relationship. We're best friends, good uh, SAC partners. And her and Honeyco both are great friends with each other. I love them both. And you don't give up. You try, if it had something good there, you go back to it. You try to make the best of it. You try to make the adjustments, and then you make it work. Yeah, I've had plenty of failures in life. I don't want to stop trying. You were little Buddha, pal, and I was big Buddha. I think Kevin is used to being big Kev until he met me. He looks like tiny Kev. I'm a lot. I've probably lost 100 pounds since I saw Kevin last. I'm in the gym 6 days a week, walking and swimming, and I'm super active now. But when he first met me, the very first day, it was the heaviest I'd ever been in my life. I had had these eye surgeries, and I was sitting around feeling sorry for myself, eating everything in sight, drinking beer. I gave up. I'm doing the exact same thing. I had to practice what I'm preaching. And I decided, okay, I got to stop this fucking insanity, get back in the game, and start trying my hardest. And then I was able to turn it around. But when Kevin met me, he's looking up because I'm 6'7". He's listed at 6'1". I think he's about 5'10". And I don't think Kevin's used to being around. And of course, Mick Fisher, you met him. He's 6'6". And I think Captain Billy is about six something. Well, Kevin needs a pair of glasses. Needs to learn how to read what's on the screen. Oh my gosh. Well, there's Honeycomb. She must have been listening to what I said. You know, and say it again. Honeycomb's a marvelous person. We're best friends. We've been best friends for years. And her and April are best friends. And we're like a family more than it's like they're a part of me. You know what I mean? I couldn't imagine life without them, as well as my kids. Ethan is going to be 2 on the 20th of this month and of January, and Sunday, and Shan Shan. They're just marvelous human beings. It's so funny because they've gotten a chance to meet all these expats. Uh, Mick Fisher became Uncle Mick. Kevin was like their best buddy. Doug Williams and their wife came, I think, more to hang out with my kids than with us. Him and his wife, his wonderful wife, and we've just been so fortunate because everyone that's met them has really, really enjoyed their company, and they're very respectful to everybody. Earnest, but see, greater point is don't quit. Something doesn't work out for you, make the adjustments, acknowledge the failure, and then come back and try. We did. Ooh, gosh. And I haven't had a beer, Kevin, for 14 months, going on 15 months, which helps a lot for the losing the weight part of it. I still got a lot. I still got weight to lose, but I also am bigger muscular wise than I've been in my life too. I've got, literally 21, 22 inch arms. I mean, sometimes you look in the mirror and you go, who the hell is that creep? But I guess the better point, and I would say even this to Frank, because if Frank could stop being a dick and just be a normal guy and could acknowledge the mistakes, if his ego, he calls me big ego, his ego is 1,000 times bigger. If he could acknowledge the error and get out there and just, be normal and hang out with people and be supportive of other people instead of being a narcissist, even a guy like that, it's not too late. Never give up, regroup. I got some of the best advice ever from Kevin back in 2020, 2019, 2020. I was doing my show back then. I had pretty good numbers, sometimes 100 people watching. I was doing it daily. And he told me there's life after YouTube. And of course, there is, but you get so wrapped up in the vortex of it that you forget that sometimes. And he said that you need to walk away from it sometimes. And then I took his advice. I walked away from it for 23 months. Best advice I ever took. For 23 months, we partied our ass off during COVID. During all the lockdowns when the Philippines was locked down, we were out every single night with the harem. April and I, we were having the greatest time of our life. We had the best family time. We were at every resort. A lot of these resorts that you could never afford in a million years were now, like $50 a night for the villa and stuff like that. We were out constantly. We had the greatest time, and I owe Big Kevin that advice because he was basically the only one saying that. All the toxicity, everything that was going on, just walk away from YouTube. Wow. After a week of that, I said, wow, this feels pretty good. I don't have to deal with this anymore. And I didn't do it. I didn't deal with it for almost 2 years other than Ricky's show. I watched Ricky because I thought Ricky was so funny. But I used to watch even back in the RRR days, back when Popeye and Jeff Swift, Roberto, and Allo were in their prime with each other. Some of that shit was hilarious. Before I was doing YouTube, I was listening, and I would watch that show. Who else did I watch? I watched Ned Kelly a few times. Few times. I watched Rike. I thought Rike was very articulate and pretty good, but I was already living in the Philippines for years. So all of their, the five things you need to do when you go to the Philippines, none of that worked for me because I was already there. And then Bud Brown was another one. I remember Bud Brown. I watched a few of his shows. Trying to think of anyone else who was around back then. Well, Fazio was around, but you know, um, there wasn't a lot of vloggers. Mike, Kaysen, there was about five or six guys only, and then RRR came, and they took the world by storm because they were skewering all of the bullshit people. Because, like I said, I've met all the vloggers, all the famous ones, the less famous ones, the female vloggers. Almost every one of them was begging for money the minute the cameras turned off. Almost everyone lives a double life and a life that's nothing like what they're showing on their vlogs. And so RRR made their career out of skewering these people. And they're actually helping people because if you're out there trying to sell the Philippines and you're trying to convince people, and of course, you have to be their guide and their consultant for a fee. I think the RR people were actually doing a huge service to the community. It's too bad they stopped doing it because I think that they need the community needs people to hold it. I watched Terrence a few times, Steve. I watched, but see, I met him and I met that other creepy one from Bohol. It was similar sound, like foreign or something in the Philippines. It sounds just like Terrence's show, and that guy was creepy. I'm telling you, like, I can't remember his name at the moment, but holy moly, was this guy off the charts? Yeah. So the other thing too, if we remember people like Big Head Larry, and people attacked him all the time, but he's telling you, I'm here to bang bitches. I don't not here to go to waterfalls. I'm here to bang bitches. He told you what he was. He lived up to his thing, and then he got out. I have no problem with someone like that. I have a problem with someone who's pretending to be wholesome, pretending to be a certain way for the camera, and then the minute the camera's off, they're off at the bar with a prostitute. And I've known so many like that. Of course, I'm not going to out people. It's not my job to out people. The farmer, Paul. Well, one of the Pauls was contacting some of my harem, and I read. I'm not sure which Paul it is, but one of the not the old dog one. There's other Pauls. Him and creepy Geo. Oh, let's see. What is this? I tried to add you, Honeyco. I don't know if you got that or not. I read their text messages to my female friends that were part of my harem. They showed them to me. They came, and it starts off with, I just want to get to know you, and yeah, maybe we can sit down and watch Netflix together and have a coffee. And then as you read through the progression of text messages, it goes to, I'm going to get you a visa. I have a visa in my pocket right now, as a matter of fact. All I got to do is fill your name out and send it in, and I'll have it within 2 weeks. But I need to give you a little test drive for a couple weeks. I read it with my own eyes. They didn't even know that the harem members, the two people that were affected by this, did not even know I was on YouTube, and they brought this to me. So I've seen it. And this is also why they got kicked out of every city. You can only fool so many chicks before they start to complain to the barangay hall and wherever they complain. And then they run off to Jinsan. Next thing they're in CDO. The next thing they're in Dumageddon, shitty Dumageddon. Blind Owl. I never watched him. I think he was in Lausanne, and I never watched him. You just talked to Big Head. I know. I heard you say that. That's why it came to my mind. Because whatever you think of Big Head Larry, he's not being two faced about it. He's there to rack up a body count. Now, I've racked up a body count, 4 digits, but I was single for so many years living in Asia. I never had a quiet night. But I don't live that life anymore. I'm not out racking up body counts anymore. But see, Larry made it very clear this is what his intention was. And I think that's one of the reasons why the RRR crowd largely ignored him, because they might not have agreed with his, morally, but I think they didn't think he was fooling people and he wasn't being fake about it. And I think, like the guy that says, I want $32,000 to get heart work done in America, and then he pockets it, just going to take pills, and then he dies. And this latest one with Heidi, come on, fibromyalgia, you're going to die and have oxygen. I mean, I don't want to see anyone suffer. I don't want to see her suffer. I got nothing against her, but anyone who thinks this is real, they need to go get a medication. They need to go see an analyst. Yeah, big head Larry, 5 digits. I, I don't think so. Maybe in one day, Steve. I have a feeling you've done more than 5 digits. Oh, well, 5 digits. Let's see, one, two, three, four, five. So that would be more than 10,000 people. If that's true, I give you my hats off, kudos. My hero growing up was Will Chamberlain. Never quite got to that level. Lotto, yes, Chris and Cebu. Used to see him a lot. 'Cause I lived in Cebu. I lived in Makati for 2 years. I lived in Cebu for 8 years. Well, yeah, and then we lived in Boracay for the last year. Boracay and Iloilo. We split between those two. I lived in Boracay for about 7, 8 months, and then we went to Iloilo for a couple months before we went off to Chiang Mai and left. Peter Van Dever. You know, I'll speak on the Peter Van Dever issue. What did he say that was wrong? See, back in that time, everybody was so hypersensitive. You couldn't criticize the Philippines. You couldn't criticize a Filipina. Everybody was so hypersensitive. Now everyone exposes them all the time. I mean, it seems like half the videos out there are exposing the scams that they're doing. And Peter Van Dever was largely telling the truth, or a lot of things he was saying was truthful. He could have done it in a more tactful way, I suppose. But I want people to tell me where he was categorically wrong in his analysis. I think even people like, I used to talk to Roberto privately, and the Robertos and Alos of the world, I think, would even acknowledge that a lot of what Peter said was true. But like even when I first started doing YouTube, we had different people that got into some of these fights with Filipinas. If you said one little word about a Filipina, the white knights would come galloping in and they're going to destroy you and they're going to destroy your channel. But come on, so many of them are just scamming the shit out of these foreign guys. So Peter, well, and then that brings us up to the Ricky era. If we remember when Ricky started, before he was at this hotel doing his live stream, he was in Germany as Fat Slob Vlogs. He did his 1 to 2 minute uploads. I was the subject of a couple of those where he was attacking me, which I thought was fine. It was very funny, and I deserved it probably. But he went after everybody. He went after all the simps, the Brett, the 99 cent super chat crowd, um, and every day it was like, who's he going to go? He went after Mrs. Hapster, for goodness sakes. He went after everybody. And then he started going after, and he still does. Look at all the people he still goes after. Is he wrong? Are those people scamming people? Of course they are. He's one of the few people that's actually telling the truth. So in a way, even though it seems like the RRR people and Ricky were got sideways of each other, in a lot of ways they had the same mission of trying to point out, slap, and humiliate people who were scamming the community. All right. I'm not sure when Kevin Old Boy is going to do a show, but hopefully you're going to keep it rolling, Kevin. You're doing a great job. Great job. And I'm gonna wind it up here because I got to go to the bathroom and I don't want to pee in the pool. I have to poop too. I don't want to poop in the pool. That's for sure. I can probably get away with peeing in the pool, but not pooping. So I want to wrap it up here and say thank you, Steve and Popeye, Don C, Doc M, Lotto, Big Kevin. My gosh, we had an incredible array of people, and of course, April Honeyco, Steve. I said Steve. Ernest. I earnestly want to thank Ernest for coming, and everybody else. If I missed your name, I'm sorry, but I want to thank you all, and hopefully, someone else will be doing a show here soon. And you pee in the pool all the time. Ah. I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody, and God bless you. And Pass the word on to tell people to stop being a simp. You're in the driver's seat. You're the prize. Act like it. Don't be a simp. Don't fall for the scams. Don't act desperate. Be a real man and stand up and collect those prizes and enjoy your life to the fullest. Don't let the media, don't let people shame you into being a cuck. Don't let people force you into being weak to fit in and get along with the masses. Do what you need to do to make yourself happy, be joyous, be fulfilled, meet real people, cherish the real people that God has put into your life, and have some fun. Get out there and use. And let me tell you one other thing: if your dick still works, use it before you lose it. You're gonna regret it if you don't. It's my final word of advice. Not much of an advice guy, but I will give that advice. Use it before you lose it. No honey, no money. Remember that. All right, everybody, take care. I love you all. Bye bye.